This series loss against Baltimore proved a lot of honest things about the Yankees, some that we are not ready for, and some that we might have been expecting. What's going on, guys? It's the King of 161st Street. I'm back with another video, and the first thing that I will say we learned about this team is that Oswaldo Cabrera has to go. I'm not saying he has to be traded or anything like that. He's got to go down to the minors. He does not belong here in pinstripes at the moment. He has to learn how to get the ball in the air more frequently. He said in one of his post games, I need to try and get the ball in the air more. Well, he's still hitting 50% of his balls on the ground, and he's not getting many of them through. His glove is not good enough to make up for this lack of offense. He is batting less than 200, and I know batting average is a very bad stat to use in 2023, but his other stats don't look great either. I think it's time for him to get the development he deserves, go back down, and we might have to bring up Estevan Florial again. Look, I know a lot of you see Estevan Florial as this quadruple A player that is never going to pan out in pinstripes, but the same thing could have been said about Jake Bauers. Look at what Jake Bauers did in the minors, and we brought him up, and he's been looking like ass. Estevan Florial seems like he's going to be the next guy to get called up, no matter if it's Jake Bauers going down or if it's Oswaldo Cabrera. One of them has to go. Next on the list, are we ever going to see 2022 Nestor Cortes again? This pitch clock has probably gotten to him a lot more than we think, but I will say, as Yankee fans, we get on Blue Jays fans all the time because of Manoah and how the pitch clock has screwed him up and he sucks now. If we're going to be saying these things about Alek Manoah, we have to start being consistent and saying the same things about Nestor Cortes. There is no excuse right now for you to be gassed after 80 pitches. As a number 2 starter, which is what he is right now, I know we have Rodon coming back probably late June, something around there, but for right now, he is our number 2, or supposed to be our number 2. He's regressing back to the days where we DFA'd him. He just cannot go longer than 5 innings. Giving this bullpen 12 outs a game is going to be a death sentence for us come postseason time, because for me, I see this team as a World Series contender. The Houston Astros did not start off the greatest. If we can have them out of the way, I don't see too many other threats other than AL East teams. If our number 2 starter can't get out of the 5th inning, this is very concerning. Very concerning. I don't know if we're going to get 2022 Nestor, which means we may have to go back to the trade market to find another pitcher. I'm not saying we have to bench Nestor, but I am saying we may need some other guys in that rotation and or bullpen to make up for the innings that they have to eat for Nestor Cortes. That's a problem. Another thing that we find is that Gerrit Cole's home run problems, they didn't go away. They were just holding off. He's back to giving up long balls on the daily. It's getting more concerning every time. You see it almost every batter. He keeps these pitches too high. I don't know what it is with Yankee starters right now, but every single one of them has this fucking sweeper slider thing, which is like a slider and a cutter. It's freaking garbage pitch. I don't know why you had to fuck with your slider the way you did, but it doesn't work. It looks cool when you execute it perfectly, that it goes all the way around and doesn't really break, but when you don't execute it, it's one of the easiest pitches to hit, and you have seen that time and time again with Gerrit Cole. He does not know how to throw that pitch with consistency. That pitch gets put into the seats all the time. His fastball is not as effective as it was earlier in the year, and he's given up the long ball at too high of a rate. We cannot afford this, okay? We cannot. Now, am I overly panicking about this team? Am I pressing the panic button? No. But these are some concerns that I think the Yankees need to address almost immediately. Now, what are some remedies to this? I have a few. The left field situation, there's a few guys out there. Seattle doesn't like Teoscar Hernandez right now. You could go out and try and get him. Jock Peterson's in San Francisco. Try and get him. There are guys out there that can hit, that are available for you. You just have to go out and find them. To fix our pitching situations, get this freaking sweeper out of your fucking arsenal. Is it a slider or is it a cutter? Pick one. That's how you fix this fucking pitching issue, because I think that's what's fucking Nestor's cutter. Nestor does not have any velocity, so he has to pinpoint location no matter what. He is basically after weight loss CC. After the weight loss, CC could not pitch with freaking velocity, so he had to locate perfectly every time, and it extended his career pitching like that. But for Nestor, that's been his entire career, because he's never had good velo. But this is the first year they're implementing this sweeper. Last year, his cutter, he was able to pinpoint it inside exactly where he wanted to, or outside, back door, right where he needed to be. This year, that cutter is hit in the middle of the plate, and it's probably because, with that freaking sweeper in mind, those grips, I should say, they sort of combine, right? Because you're basically throwing a cutter with a slider. So with those grips being very similar, when he tries to throw a real fucking cutter, it turns out to be a sweeper. And when it turns into a sweeper, but he tries to locate it like back door, boom, he puts it right over the middle. Or if he's trying to throw a cutter inside and instead he throws a sweeper, boom, he lays it over the middle, because he was supposed to get more bite on it, but because it's a sweeper, it had more slide to it, so it stayed over the middle for a longer period, gets over the middle of the plate, boom, home run. These are things you have to know as the Yankees coaching staff. This sweeper is doing nothing but fucking these pitchers up. You see it with Cole's slider as well. That slider's not looking as effective because it's getting that cutter feel. So when you're trying to go back door, it doesn't have break because it's a cutter. And then when you're trying to use a cutter to go up, it's also a slider. You're not getting as much break as you'd want on that cutter to go over to the other side. These are just things you have to pay attention to if you're that coaching staff, and I don't think they have. I think they saw this pitch, thought it was a revolutionary pitch that everyone's going to use, and a lot of people have started to use it, but you have to know your strengths and weaknesses as a team. Right now, that pitch is a weakness for this pitching staff. So those are my thoughts on this series. Am I panicking over it? Hell no. It's a good team that we faced. Our series is even between us on the year, so we'll figure this out later on. We're off to face San Diego now. Let's get a few wins here. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and peace.